Well, as those discussions continue on Capitol Hill, one of Reddit's co-founders is revealing how he plans to contribute in this fight against racism. Alexis Ohanian is a father of a 2-year-old daughter with his wife, that's Serena Williams. He resigned from Reddit's board of directors on Friday, and he urged the board to replace him with a black candidate. He also promised to donate future gains on his Reddit stock to initiatives that support the black community. In an exclusive interview, he told us how he made the decision for his lovely daughter.
I didn't arrive at this easily. It was absolutely a hard decision. But thinking back, especially on the position our country's been in, and then especially in the last few weeks, I realized I needed to look at myself, look in the mirror, and see what I could do to help contribute some real positive change so that I could look my daughter in the eye when she's a little bit older. And she asks me what I did to help make this country and this world a little bit better for her and for a whole lot of people who look like her.
Tech entrepreneur Alexis Ohanian co-founded the popular social sharing website Reddit back in 2005. He has served as executive chairman since 2015. Ohanian is married to tennis superstar Serena Williams. They are parents to an adorable 2-year-old daughter, Olympia. Fatherhood played a big role in his decision to resign from Reddit's board and his request to be replaced by a black candidate. I'm struck you just said it was a hard decision. What was the hardest thing about it for you?
You know, Reddit was my first child. I started it right out of college. I was a kid who walked out of an LSAT to go to a Waffle House and decided he wanted to become an entrepreneur. But looking inward, it was a hard decision until it was a really easy one. When I remembered that my greatest creation is not and never will be Reddit, it's my daughter. And I want her to be proud of her father.
Well, you've certainly done that. And I will say, listen, your skill set is vast, including braiding your daughter's hair. Every time I see that picture, it just makes me smile.
That's growth, and I think whether it's learning how to braid my daughter's beautiful hair or whether it is growing to accept my own blind spots, that growth mindset is so important.
Yesterday, Reddit got the message and added tech CEO Michael Seibel to the board. But couldn't you have, if you'd wanted to, just said we're going to add a black person to the board? Did you have to step down?
I think there is something symbolic about someone in my position stepping aside as a way to say, we're not just going to make sure that you have a seat at the table, I'm going to give up my seat so that you can have it. I do believe in what that represents, and I hope it makes boardrooms all across the country look around the table and say, who are we serving? Who is our community?
Ohanian says more diversity is in the best interest of Reddit and the tech industry more broadly. Reddit has faced criticism because hate speech has not been moderated in the message boards on the platform. But Ohanian's venture capital company, Initialized, has been investing in new startups that will target hate online.
I think if we follow this drumbeat of support, both offline and online, I think we're going to see more and more tech businesses in particular taking more responsibility over not just the content on their platforms, but also the diversity of their workforces.
As you know, there are very few black faces in the boardroom, so you thought about that too. And your own experience, Alexis, in a boardroom.
Yeah, there's this striking double standard because I have never walked in a room and not felt 100% confident to be there, not felt 100% welcomed there. At times when I really shouldn't have been. Because of my inexperience or because of my youth or because of my whatever. But that is the privilege that I have walked my entire life. There are things that I do that my wife checks me on, that I'm doing with the best of intentions, but still require me to feel that pain and then dig deeper.
And I'm wondering, what has she helped you see that you didn't see before?
There are situations where I default expect to be heard. Because all of my life, when I bring something up, I'm generally in a position where someone is going to hear me, take my side, and trust what I have to say. And I take that for granted. And it's not until I'm, talking to my wife about things that I really understand that that is not a luxury she has had.
Do you think that you would have come around to this way of thinking if you had not been with Serena in particular?
I would love to say yes, but To see, look, to have that front row seat to her, not just her greatness, but everything she has to endure, much of it that never gets reported on, that no one sees, right? That made the education come really quickly, especially when this is someone you love.
But Alexis, as you know, nobody likes to be called out. People get very defensive.
Yeah.
That seems to be changing, but
I think it is changing. That discomfort that we feel physically when we push ourselves to go further is something that we usually embrace, right? We know that that's where growth happens. That's where muscles are tearing just a little bit so they regrow stronger. These conversations are that same kind of exercise. They're that same kind of discomfort for our brains and for our souls, because at the end of the day, if what we're asking is privileged white people to be able to feel a little bit of discomfort to have a hard conversation, it's a very reasonable ask.
yeah, Alexis Ohanian is saying, lean in, white people, lean in, enjoy the discomfort. Yeah. I really appreciated his candor, and he's walking the walk and talking the talk. The first million in his profits, the first million will go to Colin Kaepernick's Know Your Rights. So he's pledging his future Reddit gains, and the first million, because he believes that Colin Kaepernick is someone who has transcended his sports and will show that he's on the right side of history. So, Tony, I really enjoyed talking to him. I really appreciated the candor that he had. If you noticed on the wall in the room where he did the interview, it said, "Pain is growth. Pain is growth." He believes that.
I did notice that. He's clearly comfortable with being uncomfortable and wants others to be as well. The symbolism is so big right now. It is not going to be enough to have the best of intentions. It's not going to be enough to follow the golden rule and treat everyone the same. If we are going to fix the problem of inequality, it's going to have to take intention and action, Anthony. And I think Alexis is really putting it on the line for the rest of us to say, look, it's going to be sacrifices.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think his point about stepping down as a way of showing we're not just willing to give a seat on the board to a black person, we're willing to give up our seat to allow a black person in. Very symbolic. It doesn't sound like a big difference, but it's actually a huge difference, I think, Gayle.
Oh, you're so right, Anthony. It's huge. And the reaction from the tech world and the business community, he says, has been very positive. He's gotten a lot of calls from people saying, how did you do, what to do, that they want to engage. So I think it's very important. He's sending quite a strong message. Thank you very much, Alexis Ohanian.